I trust you all are doing great. And I genuinely pray for everyone's well being. And I will be very honest to say, when I pray for everyone, I know for certain that I'm a part of everyone on this planet. So, certainly, God is going to take care for me and all the people that are on the planet, all the living beings that are on the planet. So, God is certainly going to take care of it. We really need to pray. We really need to believe that yes, good things, good days are certainly on its way. And the way we have been fighting with the corona crisis, it is amazingly on the positive track. So we need to give all the credit to the people, the hard work being put by the government and the essential service people. That has been commendable. So let's thank them that yes, we are on the track of becoming day by day better than what we were. And so I'm sure that yes, good days will be there. Now, oh wow, I can see so many people joining in. Amit to Lokik to Anjali, Vijay, Himanshu, Mukesh, Ajit, and so many people are there. That's really great. As in, like, I must say that it feels great to see so many people interested to improve themselves and are focused to learn something new. That too on the Saturday morning, which happens to be the last day of the week. Though the feeling of the week have literally changed in the recent past because during this lockdown, almost all the day appears like the same. But yes, because this being the last day, we could have chosen some or the other things. If you if you have chosen to attend the session, which is recommended but not set as a mandatory for attendance purpose, if you have chosen to learn something over watching TV for news or any other favorite program, I must appreciate it. I must appreciate it. And I would genuinely try my best to ensure that yes, today we all learn something new, something fresh, and something which is tangible for our growth. So, let me quickly tell you about a bit about me. My name is Ankit Tiwari, and I'm proud to be associated with Safe Express Private Limited, one of the most trusted brand in India, and certainly a distinguished name in the domain of logistics, supply, and change management. And it is certainly because of the people who work in Safe Express because they have brought this credentials to the company. So kudos to everyone and congratulations that yes, you are a part of such a wonderful organization. I represent training team at Safe Express and I will be the facilitator for today's session on feedback, wherein we'll talk about the giving and the receiving aspect of the feedback. And I say that yes, feedback is a combination of science and art when it because it combines logic and human conversation, which is the emotional aspect to it. So we are certainly gonna explore on both the side, and I'm I'm quickly asking you everyone, just put in the comments if you are more on the giving side or you are more on the receiving side of the feedback. I'm gonna cover both of them, but yes, just to help me, put in comments. Do you receive feedback more or you often give feedback? Just type in your comments box whether you are more on the giving side of the feedback or you're on the receiving side of the feedback. Okay, and I'm gonna ask you few questions. I'm quite hopeful that yes, we will all make it as engaging as we can, though it is a webinar thing, so it is more of a one-way driven, but yes, I'll try to make it as engaging as it can be. And for that I'm going to ask you few questions. Let be very honest to say what's your answer. So my first question goes like this: how many of you feel uncomfortable during tough and difficult conversations? Please comment quickly. Let me see. How many of you feel uncomfortable during the tough or difficult conversation, whether it is one on one or whether it's in group? Good. So my first question goes is, how many of you feel uncomfortable during tough or difficult conversation? Put it in a comment box here. Let me see. So lot many of are uncomfortable during the difficult or the tough conversation. That's very obvious thing. Now, how many of you believe conversations during the feedback time is one of the most difficult conversation? Either you're on the giver or on the receiver side. Doesn't matter whether on the giver or on the receiver side, whether you're offering feedback or you're getting feedback. How many of you believe that during that particular span, during that particular conversation, it is the toughest thing to be in the conversation, to participate in the conversation, and to either pass on the information or receive the information, which is the part of the conversation? How many of you believe so? Type in that. So, lot many of us believe that yes, we all go through the difficult conversation, and when we go through the difficult conversation, we feel uncomfortable. And one of the very difficult conversation that we go in our life when we come across is the time when we share feedback or we receive feedback. So let me tell you that by and large, a very realistic picture for almost all, as when we offer feedback, we have lot many issues starting from self talks. Let's say, shall I say this? Shall I say that? Oh yeah, come on. That particular person is so close to me. She's a very near and dear to me. How would he or she feel? Maybe they may feel offended. Maybe my relationship with them the toss if in case I tell them something which may be a little harsh or maybe a little very straight to the point. Whether they'll listen to my advice, whether they'll listen and then follow those feedback. There are a lot many things that goes around when we offer feedback. And almost the same case when we are on the receiving side, because we are crippled with lot many of our prejudices and beliefs that may lead to not following the advices and the suggestions which people offer to us during the feedback session, whether it is on a one-on-one or it is in a group or anywhere. Because when we don't listen to the people, when we don't act upon those things, what exactly happens is, like, eventually people who could have helped us grow, they start stopping themselves from giving and offering feedback, and then they choose only to talk sweets about us, and they only offer candies. Now, when we get into a world of our own comforts, don't you think that this is not actually a real world, but it is a world of our illusion, wherein we tend to believe that we are growing, but in fact we are not. We are trying to surround ourselves with the people who only talk sorry, we surround ourselves with the people who only talk good, positive, sweet about us. So that is something generally it happens. My one of the point is, if we actually want to grow, then what we have to do, this is one of a very important point that we actually have to understand. We have to participate in a feedback session. We have to be very open to receive feedback, and when we offer feedback, we have to consider certain points. So before we get into all that, let's quickly understand what is feedback. What is feedback? So Mr. Arkalgut Ram Prasad, who happens to be professor of information and decision science at University of Illinois at Chicago in 1993, defines feedback generally as information information about the gap between the actual and the reference level of a system. parameter. So maybe you are here and you can go up to this. Let's say you are at A and you can go to B. So if you get a feedback, you get an idea that yes, you can move from A to B. So is it this is going to help you grow further? But because lot many times we have crippled ourselves and we have surrounded ourselves only with the people who talk sweet, and we believe that yes, these are the people who are giving us feedback. Feedback is not certainly only the positive thing. Feedback can be on the positive side and can be on the negative side as well, but I don't say that is actually a negative, that is the feedback. So it helps us in growing further. So it is an area which we were not known or which we were not aware of, which people have helped us in being in making us aware what is exactly that is lacking or what is exactly that needs our more attention. And we if we focus on that, we can actually grow much further beyond the capacity, beyond the limits that we have set for ourselves. So he also emphasizes that the information by itself is not feedback. He emphasizes that the information by itself is not a feedback unless translated into action. So Batson says any difference that makes a difference. Batson says that any difference that makes a difference is the feedback. And I say effective feedback is the information that calls attention to the problem. We all are surrounded with any number of problems, and that is why exactly we need to receive feedback. Let's quickly understand where when all we would require. So before to that, let's quickly cover a few points more on the feedback, what exactly it is. So can I say that feedback is a two-way process where there is a person who gives the feedback and there is a person who receives the feedback? Can I say it helps us by providing us the evidences of our performance and effectiveness through ways of communication. It enables us to build up a picture of how others see us and how we affect ourselves and others. When we perform our job, our duty, how exactly we are affecting ourselves and how we are affecting others. So that is exactly we will get an idea when we actually listen to the feedback of the people around us. It is very much required so as to be open to the feedback, and it is certainly a vital ingredient in evaluation process. If you are going to evaluate yourself or anyone, do you think that without feedback it is possible to evaluate? Feedback is something which is exactly going to help you what is the missing in that particular part and how we can work on that. So I see feedbacks are constructive, not destructive, until and unless those destructive feedback comes either from the giver side or from the receiver end. And that is exactly happening when either the giver or the receiver have a wrong intention, not so good intention. He is a biased approach, he is a behavior which is filled with negative frame, and it has lots of prejudices that yes, oh my god, what will happen if I say this and that and that. Oh come on, you're going to help someone. If you're going to say something truth, why are you shying on that front? You are going to help someone, so don't shy on that and don't feel uncomfortable. Go ahead and help the person. And if you're on the receiver side, maybe the person approach to give you feedback may not be so good, but whether the content that he or she is sharing, whether those are good or not, if in case those are good, ignore how it has been delivered. Look on what has been delivered. Yes, it's really very amazing when whatever is given and how it is given, if it is packaged well, it is amazing. But focus on the content first and then on the how it was given if you're on the receiver side. But when you're on the giver side, make sure that yes, you give nice feedback, you give tangible feedback, you give specific feedback, and let's explore how we can ensure all these. So if we talk about the essentials, if we talk about the essentials of feedback, so I say the effective feedback is the state, the impact of actions and behavior. Don't focus on the person much, focus on the behavior of the person, because person is not good or bad. It is the behavior which makes the person good or bad. So if in case you know something which is missing in a person, you can go and help that person to work on those missing part and improve himself or herself to be a better individual. When you offer feedback, please ensure that you ask individual to respond with an open mind frame. And when you are on the receiver side, please ask your giver to respond when you ask questions on the points that he have already shared as a feedback. Make sure when you offer feedback, you convey positive intention, and when you receive feedback, you also need to convey positive intention. If in case you do not have a positive intention, the kind of magic that can happen after the feedback will not be there, because we haven't received the thing what we were supposed to, or we haven't given the thing that we can actually give. So feedback is one of the most powerful thing that we can do or we can get. But before to that, one thing that needs to be understand, like need to be understood, is having a positive intention is the core. So core is the most important thing. If we do not have the positive intention when we offer feedback or we receive feedback, feedback will be ruined. And if you don't want to ruin the feedback, if you want to utilize the feedback, please make sure you go with a positive intention. If you really want feedback to be effective, make sure you describe the specific observation. Don't say the generic thing, tell the specific, because people like specific. They don't like themselves to be neglected, ignored, or embarrassed, or like complaint about. They want, if in case you have any complaint, tell me what, when, where, what I did wrong, so that when you tell something specific, they're more open to understand it, embrace it, and accept it. And when they accept it openly, there is a highly likely chance that they may act upon it. How would a person act upon something if they haven't received it, they haven't accepted it? So make sure that yes, feedback should be accepted as well. As a giver, you should ensure that yes, you should give feedback in a way that it should be accepted. But at the same time, when you're a receiver, don't focus on what how the person is saying, focus more on what person is saying. Because if I work on what he's saying, there is a highly likely chance for me to improve myself, to upgrade my version, to be a better person than what I was. So focus discussions on solutions rather than on the complaint. Feedback isn't about telling only what is missing. Feedback is more about, if this is missing or this is not wrong, what actually could be done so that we can be better. And that is where exactly I would like to share a small, very small story with you all. So there used to be a person called as Ramu, and he is a friend called as Shamu. So Ramu was very good at drawing, painting, and all that. And he was not very much sure whether he is so good enough that he can continue that particular profession as a, like I would say, for an earning source and all that. Can he move from that passion to just as a kind of profession? So he asked his friend, "Can you help me understand what is missing when I draw different sketches or paint, or do I paint?" He said, "Yeah, come on." So Shamu said to Ramu that I'm not so good at all this. Okay, I'm a different person. I have a different personality. I am more more on the analytical blend and all that. So I may not be very much strong to tell you what is missing in your drawing or painting. Why don't you do one thing? Why don't you do one thing? You draw something beautiful and then you put it outside your home and ask people that, please tell me what is missing in it. What is missing in it? And you know what exactly happened? रामू जो है बहुत इस सुझाव को, मशवरे को बहुत ही दिल से लेते हैं, बेहतरीन से एक ड्राइंग बनाते हैं, बढ़िया सा पेंटिंग करते हैं उसको, और घर के बाहर दरवाजे के पास में उसको लगा देते हैं, और उसके नीचे नोट लिखते हैं, यहाँ पर एक पेन रखा हुआ है, कृपया करके आपको जहां पर भी इस पेंटिंग में कमी दिख रही है उसको प्लीज सर्किल कर दें. So if in case you find anything which is missing in it, please draw a circle around. By the end of the day, when he goes outside to collect that painting to see whether he has received some suggestions or not, so he is saying that his whole painting is covered with circles and circles and circles. So come on, so many people have come and they've given circles over and circles, as in this thing is not right or this is missing, ये अच्छा नहीं है, वो गड़बड़ है, so many things. उसका तो मोरल गड़बड़ हो जाता है, उसको कितने बड़ा लो फील होने लगता है. He comes to Shamu and says, "Hey buddy, you said that I should ask people's opinion and feedback, but what they have given is like, I'm feeling so low." Shamu says, "Do one thing, my friend. Draw it again. Draw it again. And this time, when you put it outside, don't say circle what you find missing or something which is wrong. Please use these brushes. Paint is also there. Use the paint, color, water, brush, and please correct what is wrong or what is missing, or at least provide me a detailed note on what is missing so that I can work on it." And do you know what exactly happened in the evening? Surprisingly, there were only few suggestions this time. So there were only 5 to 10 suggestions, and those were suggestions which were really important and which were meaningful, because these were the suggestions wherein it was not only pointed what is missing, it was also suggested what needs to be done and how it can be done. And sometimes people have already done for the person, so it's to show that is how it can be done. So when you offer a feedback or when you receive a feedback, please make sure you don't complain. You tell what's need to be done and you tell how it can be done. And if you have any personal example, correlate with it. And when you are on the receiving side, how would you identify whether the person who is giving you feedback is genuine or not? Whether he is actually helping you or he is only complaining about you. So whenever someone gives you a feedback, one of the best thing that you always can do is, or what I always practice is, "Sir, I take your points with open heart, with open mind, but I will really appreciate if you can help me what actually I need to do right now so that I can overcome this challenge or I can overcome this problem or I can be better, as you're saying that this is missing. I really want to overcome this or I really want to work on that. Please help me what I need to do and how can I do that?" And that is where exactly people who are genuine will come and support you, and people who are fake will probably move away. And that is why exactly it is said as an art. So you need to learn how to give and how to receive feedback. Coming further, I'll quickly take you to the point. See, the purpose of the feedback is that it enables the receiver to recognize what they will do well so that they can continue doing it. What is exactly missing, what I needs to do, or what is exactly which is not so good, so I can make it better, or what is something which I'm already doing, so receive a positive feedback on that. See, we all human beings are not perfect. Whatever we do is not only the correct thing that we are doing. We may be doing something right, we may be doing something wrong, or we may be doing something right, but not appropriately or not up to the intensity as we can do and what we are required to do. So on these two areas, we always have a scope of improvement and growth. So feedback is something which can actually helps us. So I say feedback enables the receiver to understand where he or she needs to develop and change. And change, my friend, is not something so easy. So when you understand that yes, you're going to through a change, please understand there will be a friction, and friction helps you to understand that yes, you are going through a change. Be open, go for a change, trust the person at least for some time, experiment it, observe, analyze, and if you think that yes, all the advices were not genuine, then you can ignore, otherwise you can continue. So please ensure all this. And I say, when I talk about the feedback, a lot many people ask me as in like whether feedback really works or not. So I say as in like a lot many research supports that yes, when feedback is exchanged on a regular basis between the managers and the employees, between the employees and the other employees, between a client and a person, as in like lot many of us are working in the sales or marketing or any other mode, and we always have client. We want to develop our company into a customer centric company. Yesterday there was a beautiful topic covered by Swapnil, my teammate, who talked about the customer centric approach. Come on, just ask yourself, how can we create a customer centric approach until unless we are not open to feedback? Because when we are going to a client, when we are going to our customers, they will tell us what they're liking and what they're not liking. If you're only open to listen what they're liking, come on, praise me, praise me, praise me, praise my safe express. This is not actually gonna help you or safe express. Enjoy when they say something good about you, and at the same time, be open, be a good listener. There was a topic covered by Paris, who happens to be my colleague. He beautifully covered various aspects of the listening skills. So in feedback, listening is something which is required. You need to listen to the people. You don't need to actually hear them. You need to listen them, and listen them with utmost sincerity, so that it helps you. And it has been said that to high percentage of employee engagement happens, client and service provider engagement happens when we are in a in an environment where we appreciate and encourage feedback. And even in one of a report, when HBR, out of business review reports, asked more than 500 CEOs what factors were most likely to bring them business success in the next year, employee engagement ranked in the top three, above the ability to innovate and even sales and marketing. So feedback leads to employees caring about their work, and if executives are right, that leads to the business results. So let's face it, we are human, and human beings find it tough to give and receive feedback. Many of us, let's be real, all of us get defensive when we hear it, isn't it? जब भी हमको फीडबैक मिलता है, हम अपने आप को शेल में ले जाने की कोशिश करते हैं, हम डिफेंड करने की कोशिश करते हैं, हम अपने आप को जस्टिफाई करने की कोशिश करते हैं, हम रीजन देना शुरू करते हैं, नो 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 नो, व्हाट एवर यू सेइंग इज रॉन्ग, ब्ला ब्ला ब्ला. कम ऑन, लेट्स बी ओपन टू रिसीव फीडबैक. एक बार फीडबैक ले तो लो, फिर एनालाइज करेंगे कि क्या सही था, क्या गलत था, सामने वाले ने सही बोला भी है या सिर्फ बोलने के लिए बोला है. बट at that particular moment, don't stop that person from sharing feedback, because feedback can change us, that it can make us or it can break us. So utilize it and take it as a positive side. So before we summarize, I'll share few important pointers, as in, like, before we go to give feedback, what is something that I need to actually ask myself. And that is where exactly I always say feedback giving sometimes takes courage. Sometimes it requires lot of courage to come and give feedback. It requires that we have to be observant. It is nice, it is very easy to notice things that we don't like, but it is tough to notice things that we actually like but were missing. So come on, be more realistic, be more relevant, be more genuine, be more practical, and be more honest. So when you give, understand that it is a valuable skill to recognize what we value and pass our appreciation or suggestion along to others. So it needs concentrated efforts and imagination to identify what we do want, what is absent, and how to engage others in dialogue about how to achieve outcomes that we collectively desire, because we all ultimately want to achieve a big picture, which is company's vision, and it can only be possible when we focus on the team's effort to achieve that vision. And team is nothing but, I always say, team means together everyone achieves more. So everyone has to come to their best level, to their performance, so as to achieve bigger thing. So before you go and give feedback, always ask, what is my intention behind giving this person a feedback? Is my intention positive? Is my intention a good one, noble intention? Ask yourself. Ask yourself, how am I feeling about giving it? How is the other person going to feel? And especially if they had a stressful day, should I choose this day, or it should be left for any other day or occasion? Should I choose any other environment? Shall I say here or somewhere else? In a formal environment or in a casual environment? So person has to be smart enough to identify how they should choose the right frame and right place and the right time to offer feedback. So that is very important. And one of the very important thing that I always stress upon is, like, people should be feeling calm when they're offering or receiving feedback. Otherwise, the impact that we can have through the feedback will be missing. So it is good that we should go ahead and offer in that way. But sometimes it happens that lot many of us have a habit of offering feedback. So make sure that yes, it is better when it is invited, not when it is imposed. And Even when you're offering, make sure that you should have some specific data, otherwise it would be very tough for anyone to accept your point. So make sure when you go, you're not more on the evaluative side, but you're on the descriptive side. So describe what you actually see, and here reduces the need to the receiver to act defensively. Reveal your own positions or feeling. Let's say you also might have somewhere in your life have stuck in some situation, and you would have received some feedback from people. Offer a gratitude and say, see, in that particular phase of my life, I was stuck in this situation which I was not aware of, or probably I was in more of my ego shell and all that, so I was ignoring it. But this gentleman came and helped me understand this. At the initial phase, I was not open, but when I actually understood it, it really helped me improve. So talk about feedback which are specific rather than general, and be selective when you offer feedback. So concentrate on one or two areas of improvement rather than giving them bulk options as like or bulk advices. Please go ahead and talk on one or two areas, because people do not remember so many things, they remember one or two points. So please be selective on that front, and be balanced. Talk the positive and the negative or the areas of improvement. Remember, timing is very critical, sooner than the later, unless situation is inappropriate. And make sure that yes, receiver should listen and concentrate, and give them the time to reflect upon, because change is not an event, it's a process. It will take time to go through a change. So please, when you offer advice, give the person enough time to work on it, and please support during that particular change phase. Very important is how we have to behave when we are on the receiving side. So when you are on the receiving side, one of the most important skill is listen carefully to the person who is offering. Treat it as genuine, helpful, and with respect what they are describing and suggesting. Here I'll share one personal example. I happen to have one boss from whom I have learned a lot. I have immense gratitude to that person, but I have noticed for myself and for so many other people, like I would say, a lot many people do not used to like him because of his behavior or his kind of attitude and all that. Couple of my colleague used to ask me, is like, how you're able to work with him, or probably learn or engage with him and all that. I always used to say, see, I may not like the person, but I'm liking the kind of advice that he offers me. So I am looking on the content rather on the way he is telling me that. Maybe his intention is good or bad, that's his opinion or his personal cake of choice. But if I work on the feedback that he's offering me, it is certainly gonna help me. And trust me, when I worked on that, I've improved, I've transformed myself to a better human being, and I actually focus on that. I enjoy receiving feedback. So when people offer me feedback, I try my best. See, we all are human beings, we sometimes fall to our own statements. So, but I try that yes, to an utmost to the best possible ways, listen to the people who are offering feedback. So be receptive, accept feedback as a gift. And I always say, those who offer feedback are 20 or 30% of the share of the feedback, but who are receiving the feedback, they are the 70 or 80% share of the feedback. Because actually, whether you when you receive the feedback, whether you're going to act upon it or not, it actually depends on the receiver side. So please be a good listener at that time and ask for clarification and examples if in case you stuck upon. So that is very important. And one thing that we can do during the feedback is make a note. When you make a note, probably you disconnect yourself a little emotionally, so you are more focused on the logical part rather than on the emotional part. And we get happy and sad on the emotional part, not on the logical part. The logical part tells us what is missing and what needs to be done. So focus on writing that time or noting down somewhere, and ask for time so that you can sink in, get into a perspective, and reflect, and ask for opinions and feedback again and again when you're working on something. Try not to feel, I would say, devastated or by small criticism and all that. See, most of the criticism are there to help us, take care, they are not to attack and demean us. So please work on that. And something that I always say is, when a person receives a feedback, couple of behavior he or she can demonstrate. One is the anger. Haven't you noticed, as in, like, when you offer a feedback or when you receive a feedback, One of the phase that we go ahead, or the emotional state that we come, is in the anger mode. And we always tend to say, whether open or probably in our mind, oh come on, I have enough of this, I don't want it, come on, you're also giving me this feedback. So many kind of statement keep on revolving here and there and keep on coming and going out. Sometimes we burst out and sometimes we just digest it within ourselves in the anger mode. Second phase that actually comes is the denial. एंगर तो बड़ा फेज था जहां पर मैंने गुस्सा किया, बोल दिया या नहीं बोल पाया. सेकंड है डिनायल, मैंने बोला नहीं ज्यादा, जो भी मेरे को फीडबैक मिला मैंने ऐसा रिएक्शन दिया कि सामने वाले को लगा कि मैं उस पर काम नहीं करने वाला हूँ. सो आई कांट सी एनी प्रॉब्लम विद दैट. वट एवर यू सेइंग, it's okay, but I'm not going to accept it. So I've denied that feedback. Now when it actually happens, सामने वाला मेरे को अगली बार फीडबैक देगा, इसके चांसेस बहुत रिड्यूस हो चुके हैं. Third state that we come is the blame frame. So we always try to say, no, it's not my fault, इसकी वजह से गड़बड़ हुआ, उसकी वजह से गड़बड़ हुआ, या blah 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 reasons की वजह से गड़बड़ हुआ, but मैंने गड़बड़ नहीं किया. Come on, at least accept that point and then go and analyze whether it was your fault or not. And when, if it is not your fault, you should seek a time from that person and say, come on, I actually really appreciate your feedback, but I want to clarify on few things, and I'm sure that yes, when you listen to my points, you may be able to help me further. How can I work on those parameters or constraints or areas so that I can be better or I can get my productive results? So ask for it. Don't be into blame frame. Be more on the realistic and the working approach. One is like the rationalism. So when we rationalize something, we find excuses and try to justify behavior. Oh, come on, I don't want to actually listen because I already had a very bad week or something like that. Please, this what you're offering is not applicable to me. Doesn't everyone do something like that? So we start saying statement like this. आप जो मेरे कह रहे हो सभी लोग तो ऐसे करते हैं, मेरे को ही आप क्यों पॉइंट कर रहे हो? Come on, you need to appreciate that someone took an effort to come to you and help you understand few things. So come to the acceptance mode and work on it and improve your results. So here I'm going to summarize for everyone, and I would say feedback plays an essential role in leading ourselves to grow and make changes in our behavior. Here, our attitude matters a lot because feedback can be a gift regardless of the sources. Doesn't matter where it is coming from and from whom it is coming, but yes, it can be a wonderful gift. And remember, we are not our behavior. We can change. So be kind to yourself, be open to changes. And remember, feedback is the breakfast of champions, said by Ken Blanchard. He says, feedback is the breakfast of champions. And I'm sure that yes, today's breakfast would help you grow further. So with this note, I'm submitting myself to you all on this note. And I would really appreciate if in case there are any questions, I'll try to answer them. So just a second. Renuka has said, when we happen to receive only negative feedback, does it mean we are not at all good? Come on, you are a wonderful creature of God. Who said that you are not good? It means that you have a scope of being better than what you are. Good, better, best. So Renika, do you want to be better in your life? And if so, feedbacks are important. Shwetaji has said, of course, when we accept our mistakes, only then we can accept it amazingly. So we need to be accepted that we have, that I've already addressed that yes, acceptance is the last step and probably the first step to begin it. So it is very important. When we receive positive feedback, the individual feel confident and do the work with more improvement than previous work. Ajitwa said. Ajitwa, because time is already crossing the limit, I can summarize it just in one way. See, have you noticed in today's time, lot many kids are being pampered so much. They've been taught only the good thing. In today's board examination and all that, we only talk the good thing, good thing, good thing, and we offer them with numbers and numbers and numbers. And what actually happens in the real life, these people are not so strong. When I was doing my MBA from UPS Dehradun, I happened to see cadets from the IM Academy, when we were like done with our dinner and everything, we are just roaming here and there in our vicinity, in our college campus. I used to observe these. I must say that those were kids at that time. Okay, so those kids used to run, walk, and do lot many activities at 11 o'clock in the night. And I asked one person, come on, क्या ये लोग दिन में नहीं कर सकते हैं? And that time the person said to me, do you know, जब भी कोई हमारे कंट्री को अटैक करेगा या कोई प्रॉब्लम आएगी तो दिन में ही आएगी, रात में नहीं आ सकती. So they are preparing themselves for all that. और उन लोगों को बहुत harsh feedback मिलते हैं, sweet feedback नहीं मिलता है. And they are open to all those feedback and they work on it and they improve. So that is very important. Only proper feedback according to situation demand is to be given. Sunil said, yes, proper feedback requires data. Don't say anything for the sake of saying. Say a specific thing, say selective things, and say with data. So that is something which we really need to understand. Yes, Mudita has pointed out that lot many times people might be sharing feedback only because of personal issues and all that. Let the God decide who is who. We are not God, and I'm not here to judge people, because if I'll engage myself in judging people, where exactly I'll work, when exactly I'll work to improve myself, and when I exactly can contribute in people's growth. So be open, be in open frame, take the point. Let's say their behavior is not good, ignore that, but if their point is good, take it, accept it, and work upon it. Ultimately, we are here to grow as an individual and as a amazing person to the company, so that the company should be proud of it. With this note, I would say thank you to everyone for your time, for your love, and for your approach to learn something new. So, thank you everyone. Stay safe, stay healthy, and be a responsible citizen of India. If in case you have any questions or any doubt or any queries, please drop here. We will certainly come back to you and revert to your queries. Thank you once again. Bye. Signing off.